Since the establishment of the State Asset Recovery Unit, Saru has found itself in a position where it can talk but not touch persons suspected of robbing the state because of the lack of the required legislation. Saru head Dr. Clive Thomas says the unit has made significant discoveries of corruption, but in most cases, Saru is hamstrung by the lack of legislation. He said this has been the only stumbling block since the establishment of the unit, but they are working to correct this situation with a bill which is currently in its final stage of drafting.
What the bill does is permits the cases of where assets have been misappropriated or we think has been misappropriated, investigates some of the powers of the police, of the customs, of the immigration, of the tax authorities, so they can investigate, take the matters to court, and expect to have rulings in favor of myself or the agency if that is legally possible, and then to establish the nature of the lack of compliance that has been encountered and therefore the remedies for it.
Dr. Thomas told Nightly News during an exclusive interview on Thursday that he is not afraid of going after those suspected of gross improprieties. Opposition leader Dr. Bar Jagdeo has consistently questioned the independence and objectiveness of Saru since the unit functions within the Ministry of the Presidency. Professor Thomas maintains that Saru is independent and will act independent of the administration.
Well, as I've explained to you already, we're not only trying to find out those who stole government assets or state assets in the past, we're trying to prevent it. So that, I think, establishes our credence and the fact that we don't any longer operate as a department or a unit within the Ministry of the Presidency is a very important sign of the government's willingness to let us operate in that independent sphere. And I can assure you that the agency will be entirely committed to that principle.
With regards to the forensic audit reports, persons found culpable will not be spared, Dr. Thomas reassured, commenting on reports that most of the decisions were made at Cabinet and persons suspected of improprieties may be sheltered because of the presidential immunity associated with Cabinet decisions. Dr. Thomas says those persons will have to face the music anyway.
We have to remember the Cabinet, the government, does not own the land and the assets of the state. These are separately owned by the state of Ghana, and their procedures and regulations which govern their disposition. And that's where we're going to be located in trying to regulate that. So the fact the Cabinet ordered lands, let's say, to be sold or given away or what have you, it doesn't give them the power to do so.
Once the draft legislation receives the blessings of the House and the assent of President David Granger, Dr. Thomas said that the entity will be renamed the State Asset Recovery Agency. In a subsequent newscast, we will bring you Saru's position on those leaked Panama Papers that implicated several top officials from the previous administration. I am Royden James for HGP Nightly News.